All right. Chase, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Thank you for joining us this morning. I know you had a busy day yesterday, so we appreciate you making time for us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Are you able to find the Fazoli's in Tennessee?
Yeah, as soon as I got there, I drove like 20-some minutes out of the way just to find one. It's not very often. You can't get them down here.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm glad you were able to find one in Tennessee. So we're going to go ahead and roll straight into questions. If you have a question for Chase, friendly reminder, just raise your hand within the Zoom platform or shoot us a chat and we will monitor that as well. And to kick us off with questions, we'll start with Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. Just talk a little bit about the tire test yesterday and what you discovered at Nashville. What did you think about the track as well?
Yeah, yesterday in Nashville was it's cool for me just to go to a new racetrack that I'd never been to before, and it's definitely a different racetrack than anything like I've ever ran. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Kentucky. It's just very flat. 1 and 2 is pretty high speed, and 3 and 4 is just really flat and kind of awkward. But yeah, I thought the tire test from a speed standpoint we were pretty good. I know that there's a lot of questions about the tires. We kept cording tires, it seemed like, after 20, 25 laps. So, I don't know how much of that is just rubber not getting put down because there wasn't enough cars there, and it was kind of cool. But, they're definitely doing a lot of work at that place, trying to, make the facility nicer. It's obviously set dormant for quite a while, and the folks at Dover, I know are going to do a good job over there. But it was cool to go there. I don't know how the racing is going to be like, just because there's only 3 of us there. We never really got off the bottom, but it's cool to go to a new place. There's obviously a lot of motorsports fans in Nashville area. So I know they said they're already talking about building extra grandstands to sell more seats because there's such demand. So it should be a good time.
And do you think running on dirt this weekend will be what you need to jumpstart your rookie season?
I hope so. I definitely don't think it could hurt. So yeah, I feel like the first couple weeks, with the exception of last week, we've had good speed. Phoenix, I felt like we could have ran 7th or 8th area, and we had a 24-second green flag pit stop with 50 to go, and it just kind of killed us. So, I feel like from a speed standpoint, we've been good. Like I said, up till last week, and hopefully this week will finally be the one week where we can just get the results, because we haven't really been able to show the results side of things. We've had the speed, just haven't been able to execute. So hopefully this week we can turn it around. Obviously, we need to turn it around quick, or we're going to be in a must-win situation fairly early. We're almost already to that point. So, yeah, see how this weekend goes. Try to just go there and do the best we can. That's all we can do.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Chase, how was the track itself in Nashville? Did it feel like that nobody had raced on it in a decade, or did it feel like it's ready for you guys in June?
Yeah, truthfully, I was blown away by the grip level. Had way more grip than I ever thought it would. I was kind of like you. I figured with how long it had set, it was going to take forever for us to even get any grip in it whatsoever. But, we had a ton of grip right from the get-go, and it seemed like the grip didn't really change no matter if we put softer tires on or harder tires on. Times only change really a 10th or 2. So it's got a lot of grip in it. I want to say they ground the place, they said. So, it's pretty fresh in that sense. From a racetrack standpoint, I know there's a couple spots on the wall where there was no safer barrier. And I think that's just because the place is pretty narrow and it's more just on the straightaway. So I don't know what the plan is with that, or if that's how we would race it or not. They had re-blacktopped all the access roads and pit roads. So they're definitely doing a lot to get the facility ready. I know yesterday, every time you go down the backstretch, you'd see a guy welding billboards. They were doing all the posts and making it where it looks like a normal racetrack. So, yeah, I feel like by the time we go there, it'll definitely be ready to go racing. I know they said that there was a lot of work to do, but, they had a ton of people out there yesterday working on it.
And, from your truck experience at Eldora, what can you tell us as far as advice for, or just what should Cup drivers expect that maybe they wouldn't think of, not having run a dirt race with a car that's not really designed to run a dirt track?
Yeah, I think, it's hard for me to really say, because I think Bristol's going to be quite a bit different from Eldora, just in a standpoint of how the banking is, how tight the corners are. I think it'll it'll drive way different. Eldora, I think you can get away with driving the car pretty sideways, where Bristol, I don't know if you're going to do that at Bristol, truthfully. So until I go out there and do it, it's hard for me to say, it's going to be this way or that way. I will say from my Eldora experience, I felt like you couldn't run the car as sideways as you would a typical dirt car. So, I think for guys that have watched, other dirt racing, but have never raced it, you think you're going to be, so hung out the whole time and all this stuff and so sideways. And it's not necessarily the case always in the cup car or the stock car stuff. They just aren't meant to go on dirt. They don't drive very well on dirt. So I would say that would be the biggest thing is, it's hard for me to really say until we go do it, just because I do think Bristol's going to drive quite a bit different than Eldora.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Our next question will come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, Chase, appreciate your time. I know you weren't in a cup
No
car.
problem.
I know you weren't in a cup car last year, but there's been a lot of discussion this year. Rodney Childers has talked about it, of how the new inspection rules have kind of impacted Stewart-Haas racing. What is your impressions of this? And can you give some, maybe feedback on what the conversation is within SHR about where you guys are at performance-wise?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's hard for me to really say just because I don't know what the thing drove like last year. I do know that, I mean, it's no secret. I feel like we're off as a company a little bit right now, and I don't know if it's because of that rule change or what, but it just seems like our cars don't have the raw speed of the other cars, and they just don't drive very good right now either. So I know that there's definitely a concern in our company. Our competition meetings have been very intense the last couple of weeks. We're definitely going to figure this deal out and try to figure out what's going on and get another direction on it. I think, you're going to see a difference here in the upcoming weeks for sure, just because there's so many smart people here at SHR. And, I was talking to a couple guys the other day, this has happened to our company before where we've kind of struggled and we've had to kind of reinvent the wheel and get back to something and figure it out. And I think that's going to be the same thing here. We're just off right now. And we have a lot of really smart people and a lot of just real racers here. So they're going to dig down deep and figure it out. And, for me, I think the encouraging thing is as a company, we've struggled. And, for me, at least, it's not encouraging that we're struggling, but, for me to kind of struggle to even run inside the top 20. And then, you look at my teammates, they're kind of right there with me. So for me, at least, I feel like that's good. It'd be different if I was running 25th and Kevin was winning every race, but as a company, we're just off right now. So, like I said, I know we're going to get it turned around, and hopefully we can get it turned around soon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Chris Knight. Go ahead, Chris.
Hi, Chase. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
I was just wondering if you could talk about running for Corey Roper this weekend. It was kind of an unusual pairing. I didn't expect you to run the truck race, but Corey has shown that he has decent equipment. How did the program come together? Have you been to the shop in Texas, or what can we expect from you from the 04 this weekend?
Yeah, I'm excited to run with those guys. Obviously, it's a smaller team, and in the past, I'd always ran with ThorSport, and with their switch, it made it hard to even find a Ford in the field. So I actually had known somebody over at Corey Roper's deal, Shane Whitbeck. He was at Brad Keselowski Racing and kind of runs Corey's truck team, and had reached out to see if there was any interest in me maybe running the truck over there at Bristol. And there was definitely interest, they said. So we put it together. I have not been to Texas. They actually brought the truck here last week and just let the SHR guys put a seat in it instead of us sending a seat out there, just because the SHR guys kind of knew how I wanted the seat in the car or in the truck. So literally, an hour ago, I was sitting in the thing, and as soon as this is over, I'm going to go back over there and try to sit in it and just figure out the final details. But yeah, I think it's been cool to see them guys run good. Daytona, Corey almost won the thing. So it'd be cool for us to get a win for them or just have even a good run. They're a small team, and, it'd be cool to get them up front. So that's what we're trying to do.
And on the Cub side, is this weekend like kind of what the doctor ordered, and kind of a way to get a boost, to kind of get your season on track a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think, it's a great opportunity, to go run good just from an experience standpoint. I'll be one of the guys in the field that probably has more dirt experience than a lot of them. So this is really going to be the only week, maybe outside of the Indy road course all year long, where I actually have experience where the Cup field doesn't. So, just being able to hopefully use that advantage. But, yeah, it could be a huge boost to our team, but it also could, be a downfall if we go there and really struggle because there is such high hope. So we just got to go there. Nobody knows what to expect, from a setup standpoint, anything, some teams could hit it, some teams could miss it, and hopefully we hit it right. And, I think setup's still very important on the dirt side. Just because you're a dirt background doesn't mean you're still going to win this race. There's a lot of variables that go into it. So I don't know. Hopefully we can have a good run because we definitely need it right now. And it would be a good momentum booster into the couple weeks off.
Thanks, Chase. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Okay. Oh, okay. Our next question is going to come from Jason Brown with Spectrum News. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Amanda. Chase, good to see you. Good morning.
Yeah. Good seeing you.
You kind of touched on a little bit your experience on the dirt, but I'm wondering, with racing cup cars on this surface, how much is this race just a wild card? And maybe to a better way to put it is, how much does it level the playing field, or can you even answer that right now?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say till we get there and really see what it's going to be all about. But I mean, it's for sure a wild card. It's one of those races that nobody going into it knows what's going to happen. Anybody could go in this race. Equipment is still going to matter. It's not going to, I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle of a super speedway and just a normal race. Equipment's still going to matter a little more than it would at a super speedway. But at the same time, I feel like any team could go here and run, better than they typically do. So until we get there and kind of see what happens, I think it's hard to say. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I think the Cup Series has needed a dirt race for a very long time, and I can't wait to be a part of the first one in over 50 years.
Thanks. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Chase, I'm curious if you can kind of give me a perspective. Obviously, last year, having all the success and winning. This year, as you talked about, not the performance that you want. Again, it's only 6 races, but I'm sure in one sense, 6 races feels like a lifetime in one sense. How does, I'm sure you weren't expecting to go win 5 of the first 6 races, but how is the challenge, the mindset adjusting from being the dominant one to, I guess, for lack of a better term, getting kicked around a little bit more than what you were last year?
Yeah, it's tough. Like you said, it's only been 6 races, so trying to keep that in perspective. But it's it's just the Cup Series is so hard. Everybody's so good. I just try to keep in perspective that Chase Elliott's our last champion. It took him nearly 100 races to get a win. So just trying to remember it's not going to come right away. Every rookie I feel like kind of struggles a little bit and just takes time to kind of get your feet underneath you. And then obviously it's no secret right now we're kind of struggling as a company, so that's not helping either. But I feel like we've had decent speed and we just haven't been able to execute. And I feel like I've learned so much over these first 6 races. I know I'm going to be, twice the race car driver in another 6 races. And then by the end of the year, it's going to be, incredible growth. So I just got to try to learn as much as I can here early. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating, to not even say we have a top 10 right now or even a top 15. I feel like we've been capable from a speed standpoint, just haven't been able to put it all together. And the Cup deal is just no joke. Everybody's so good from a driving standpoint. Everybody's car is really good. And, I was telling Cindric a couple hours before the Atlanta race, I said, this is going to be the most frustrating day of your life. You're going to race as hard as you can when you're going to run a great race. And you're going to ask them at some point during this race what position you're in. And they're going to tell you you're in 25th place and you're not going to believe it. And he came up to me right after the race and said, man, you aren't kidding. I asked him about halfway through what position I was in. I was in 25th. And it's just crazy how you race so hard and, you're, 20th to 25th place. It's just really tough in the Cup Series for sure.
What else have you noticed in terms of the adjustment? And I know maybe it's a little bit clouded because in the sense of the performance issue with the whole organization, but what else have you kind of noticed how big of that step is from Xfinity to Cup?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is you have to be 100% on. The Xfinity series, I could make a mistake, or as a team, we could have a bad pit stop and you can recover no problem for the most part. Where on the Cup Series, I mean, you make one mistake and you're buried the rest of the day. And, you speed on pit road, you have a bad pit stop. Just as a rookie, especially, we don't have the raw speed of some of these other guys right now. We can't go from the back to the front. And you have to be 100% on it. There's so much information that you need as a driver trying to figure out, okay, where are the other guys running? what am I doing wrong in this area? More gas, more brake, all these things. There's so much more information you need to know. And just from an execution standpoint, like I said, if you make one little mistake, it costs you so big in the Cup Series, where in the Xfinity stuff, you can just get away with mistakes and be able to recover fairly easy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Greg Engel. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, pal.
Hey, buddy.
I had to jump off for some government stuff. So if this is an ask, but how was Nashville yesterday?
Yeah, it was good. It was we had some tire issues from just cording tires, and it seemed like after 25 laps you would kind of start cording tires, but it was good. They were doing definitely a lot of renovations on the facility. The racetrack was in really good shape as far as the track goes. So I think it's going to be a crazy race. I don't know if there's a plan to put PJ1 down or anything like that. It seemed like it was very bottom dominant yesterday, but definitely looking forward to going there. They said they're already talking about building more grandstands. There's such a demand for tickets, so should be a good time whenever we go back.
Sweet. And I know Chris asked the question I was going to ask because he's better than me. So let me do this follow-up. Some of the Cup drivers have kind of pointed towards you as a favorite. And obviously you expect to do well and you'll get a bump and all that. But does that put more pressure on you, knowing that a lot of eyes are on you, so to speak, this weekend?
No, not really. I feel like I put quite a bit of pressure on myself week in and week out to go and perform. And this week is obviously one that we feel like we can go run up front, but I feel like I can go run up front anywhere. I feel like you have to have that confidence in yourself and your ability to go do it. If you don't, why are you doing it here? So I think for us, we're, at least from my standpoint, I'm looking at it like any other race weekend. I'm just going to go there and try to give it my all, and if that's enough, then it's enough, and if not, it's not. We'll go back to the drawing board and try to figure out what I need to do better. But there's definitely, I think, pressure from the team side of things. Obviously we're not in the best point situation. We know that this is an opportunity where, it's not going to be a race where I'm just going in blind and have no practice and have to figure it out. From an experience standpoint, I do have more experience in a lot of the field. So trying to just take advantage of this week and try to score stage points and all those things. And hopefully we can have a good day.
Nice. Thanks, pal. Have fun this weekend and go get some bike riding in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Alex with the Charlotte Observer. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey Chase, I'm actually just looking at the forecast now, and it looks like rain is in it for both days for Bristol. So as a dirt guy, I'm curious what you kind of envision that will do to the track conditions if it rains this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on how much rain we have. Obviously there's a good chance it rains out. But yeah, I don't know. It just depends. The NASCAR stuff's in a tough box because we have a windshield. So, typically the track could be way heavier, and in a typical dirt race, you could go race because you don't have a windshield, where for us with the windshield, you kind of have to be careful because it gets so bad we can't see the engine start overheating, all these things. So it really just depends on the amount of rain. I don't know what equipment they have at Bristol from a drying standpoint, with how much bank there is. I don't even know if you could get trucks on the track to pack it, or a grader or whatever. So I think for me, until I go there and see it, it's hard to say. I think naturally that place, the water should run down off the dirt fairly easy, I would think. It's hard to say until I get there and see it. But yeah, if it's a lot of rain, it's not like they can pull jet dryers out there or anything like that. It's going to take the sun to come out, and there's really no wind because of how the track is, but the sun to come out to dry it out, that's really all you can do.
And then there's been a lot of talk about Noah Gragson in the Xfinity series, and I'm curious if you in Xfinity ever had any run-ins with him, or just if you could talk about what he was sort of like as a competitor.
Yeah, I never had any run-ins with Noah. I always enjoyed racing with him. For me, I never pull over for anybody. I never complain about racing hard, and Noah definitely races hard, so I always enjoyed it. I like when guys make it hard to pass you. That's their job to do, just like it's my job to make it really hard to pass me. So, me and Noah have always raced great. I have no hard feelings against Noah. I get along fine with him and always had fun racing with him.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, our next question will come from Michael Shelton. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you very much. Hey, Chase. Well, being
Hey,
a
man,
third, great. Thank you very much. Well, being a third generation racer and the fact that your career began on dirt tracks in Indiana and the Midwest, and you've competed in events like the Chili Bowl Nationals, how much are you kind of, looking forward to, I guess, a return to your roots this weekend with the racing on the Bristol dirt track?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I feel like, growing up, all the race car drivers are either dirt guys, they're short track guys, or road course guys. And, we have a short track and we have a road course in the Cup Series, but we don't have a dirt track to be able to see these guys challenged every discipline. So for me, I feel like we've needed a dirt race in the Cup Series to see guys that, aren't dirt guys growing up, challenged at this discipline, just like, dirt guys are challenged when they go to other disciplines. So I'm excited. I'm glad that we're doing it. It's been over 50 years, obviously, since the Cup Series, but I can't wait to go there. I just can't wait to see dirt on Bristol. The first time I walked in the place, I was obviously a sprint car fan growing up and around sprint car racing. And I remember watching the Bristol dirt race. I remember watching it on YouTube and playing it on your video games. And it just didn't even seem fathomable that they could put dirt on a place like Bristol. And the first time I walked in, I remember calling my dad and being like, I cannot imagine what dirt would look like on this place. And to finally be able to see that and, be a part of that event is going to be super special. So I can't wait.
And Roger Penske was asked about possibly having NASCAR, IndyCar on street courses as well. Would you welcome a street course possibly in the future with NASCAR?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care where we race. I just enjoy racing. I would love to see dirt thrown on a road course. I think that'd be cool even. So yeah, the street course thing I think would be really neat just from a, an atmosphere standpoint. I think, the electricity that would come behind a street course. I've never been to one in person, but I imagine it would be pretty cool hearing the motors roaring and echoing off all the buildings and everything else. So yeah, I would be all for a street course. I'd be all over for wherever we want to go race personally.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Jeff with Empire Sports. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Amanda. Chase, thank you for joining us today. You had some
no problem.
You had some good experiences last year on the iRacing Pro Invitational, which of course goes back to now. You finished fourth, I believe, at the Homestead event when Dale and Denny were going for the lead there. So what can you learn from an iRacing event like tonight, and how pleased are you with the effect that iRacing, the Pro Invitational series in particular, has had on NASCAR as a whole?
Yeah, I think, it had a huge impact last year during COVID, for us to be able to still put on a show for our fans and our sponsors. It was a huge thing for us. Our sport's in a unique situation where we're really probably the only sport that can do a video game style event and it still be relative to what we actually do. A football player playing Madden on a controller does not show their athletic ability, where we still have a steering wheel and pedals. The car just isn't real, it's virtual. So, I think you can learn a lot on iRacing. I think that's the reason why all these drivers use it as a teaching tool whenever they go to a new racetrack, road course, whatever. I know when I was in the ARC series in 2016, I ran every track on iRacing just so I could learn the racetrack and little things about it. So you can definitely learn things from that standpoint. And then also just racing against your peers, typically the things they do in real life on restarts and in certain scenarios, they do on the video or on iRacing as well. So you can learn and pick up little things. So there's definitely a lot to learn, and looking forward to obviously racing on there tonight. It's always fun to get on there and have some fun. And I'm sure it'll be exciting to watch.
And, I wanted to bounce off of Dustin's question, as a matter of fact, going from the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series, has this development been stifled at all by the restrictions still in place during the quote unquote social distancing era?
Yeah, if you look at the fact that there's no practice, I feel like that would definitely help me right now, just being able to go get laps. And, without COVID, I'm sure we would still be practicing. It'd be normal race weekends, all these things. So, I would say, yeah, it definitely affects performance in a sense of that side of things, just not being able to get that seat time. That is so crucial, just being able to fill these cars out before my first lap is being in the race. So, I feel like it definitely affects that side of things, but totally understand why we're in that situation. So, at the same time, everybody's in the same boat as I am. They just are, they have past experience, but, it's just kind of the cards we're dealt right now, and you have to deal with it and go on. And, it just makes it even more satisfying if you do go and run good.
Awesome. Thanks. Good luck this weekend and tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Ashley McCubbin. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hey, Chase, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, no problem.
Kevin Harvick mentioned it a couple weeks ago that going to a dirt track, he's leaning on you for a lot of your experience as well as Tony. What has discussions been like in the shop and getting ready for this weekend?
Yeah, it's definitely been weird for me to be the guy that Kevin's coming to. Typically it's me going to Kevin. So we actually talked on Monday for probably 20-30 minutes on the phone, just going through different things of what I felt like the car is going to need to have, things that he can expect to see, feelings he can expect to feel, and just kind of where he needs to try to get his car during practice. So yeah, it's definitely weird to have a guy like that coming to me. But it's neat. Hopefully I didn't steer him in the wrong direction, and hopefully he can have a good run. I told him it would not surprise me at all for him to go run really, really good there. Just the throttle control and all the things that it takes to go get on dirt is something that he's really phenomenal at on pavement. So I think he'll be just fine at it. Kevin's a phenomenal race car driver, so he's going to figure it out. And, who knows, by the end of it, I might be going up to him and asking him for some help too.
And looking back at your Truck Series starts at Eldora, what surprised you the most once we got the trucks on the track?
I think the biggest thing is, you just can't drive them like a typical dirt car, like a sprint car, something that you drive really, really hard. You're really hung out sideways. You can't do that in the trucks, especially just because they're not really made to run that sideways. It seems like the tires struggle to kind of hold the truck out at that much of a yaw angle. You just can't. There's still tendencies that drive like a typical dirt car, but they're just not made to go on dirt like a sprint car would be. So you have to drive them a little bit different. They're obviously way heavier, less power than a sprint car. So just they just race different, and the track changes a little bit different. So I think that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right, our next question will come from Anton with ASN Media. Go ahead, Anton.
Thanks, Amanda. Good morning, Chase. So my question is kind of follow-up to Jeff's. So you've had 6 races in the Cup Series already. Do you feel yourself fully as a Cup Series driver, or does that feeling still coming into you?
No, I mean, every week I'm out on the grid, and I'm still kind of speechless that I'm even out there, in the Cup Series. It seems like it's something that would never have happened in a million years, and to be there and driving the car that I am for the team that I am, it's just unbelievable still, to this day. It just doesn't feel necessarily real. So yeah, I'm still pinching myself every Sunday, even throughout the week. It's still crazy. Even yesterday, if you would have told me 5 years ago or even 2 years ago that I was going to be doing a tire test at Nashville in the 14 car, I would have told you you're crazy. So definitely still hasn't sunk in yet.
Thank you. Wishing you all the best tonight and for this weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, and Chase, we're going to close here quickly with a question from the chat related to, it says that Chris Busher mentioned in an earlier avail this week that he had heard from some truck teams that at Eldora that they would detune their motors or carburetors to make less power. I know Cup cars are EFI powered instead of carburetor powered, but could this be a case for this weekend?
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I want the power. I think that, if you're maybe a guy that hasn't ran dirt before and, not used to that type of throttle control, I could see where you'd want to do stuff like that. But for me, I want all the power I can handle. I feel like my right foot is good enough to manage it when I need to, but I want that power when I need it, especially if it builds a cushion or if it gets really rough. I think you're going to want that power to be able to bust through all those holes. So, I think if you're a dirt guy, you definitely want all the power, but if you're a non-dirt guy, I could definitely see where more guys would do it. I know when I ran in the Truck Series in 2017 for Brad's team, they asked me if I wanted to do something with the throttle stop to only get 70% throttle or whatever, and I told them I wanted the full deal. So I don't know. I guess you could do it with the EFI. I have no idea. So I don't really know how to answer that question other than I know for my sake I want all the power I can get.
All right, Chase, thank you again for joining us and for spending a little bit of extra time with us today as well.
No problem.
Really appreciate it, and best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.